Steps, the pop phenomenon of the 90s. But at the height of their success, the band imploded in one of pop's most toxic breakups.
H and Claire resigned.
I felt like I'd stabbed her in the back.
My friends had let me down.
Now, as the Ultimate Collection album is about to be released, all five have agreed to put their differences aside and meet up for the first time in 10 years.
I'm still angry that nobody thought about the rest of the three of us.
Why did you resign an hour or two before the show?
Can they forget the past and put the band back together again?
I would have been just devastated if somebody had handed me that letter.
I would never, ever do anything to intentionally hurt anybody.
I'll never get over the split and how it happened.
Just 1 hour before this very performance, H and Claire had resigned.
It was such shock. I think the last person I saw was...
But to the surprise of the other three members, H and Claire immediately signed an album deal.
Well, wasn't it a shock to fans and everybody in Boxing Day last year when Steps suddenly announced that they were splitting up? But hurrah, because two of them have decided to carry on performing as a duo.
No matter what any of the tabloids say, you know, it was really, really amicable.
But their success was short-lived, and all five retreated from the pop world. Lisa escaped to Dubai, and now lives there with her husband and children. Faye ditched the pop world and moved to the northeast to start a family. Lee is now a fitness coach, but also manages his girlfriend Kerry's band. Claire made a recent appearance on Popstar to Opera Star, but has otherwise remained out of the spotlight, cherishing her role as a wife and mother. And H has returned to North Wales, where he lives the quiet life with his partner Craig. Now, 10 years after their acrimonious split, they've all finally agreed to meet at a secret location.
I would imagine they want some answers, which I'm a bit scared about.
I think the real issue is obviously the way H and I left the band.
You've got to talk about the split. You've got to try and get other people's opinions.
It's the unknown, really, because I'm not sure how well it's going to go.
I still have never asked H and never asked Claire who really put an end to Steps.
If Steps have any chance of successfully reuniting, there's some serious questions that need answering.
I think, for me personally, guys, when the split happened, I think that the main reason behind it all is things weren't discussed.
If you look back at probably the issues that we had 10 years ago and you think about them now, they are actually really silly. What were the issues?
It felt that there was favouritism at times, definitely.
I can see why you thought that.
Everything for me was about singing. That's what I wanted to be, always.
All right.
God damn it!
God's sake.
And breathe.
And breathe. I remember when you came to me, you said to me that you'd been asked to sing the whole of One for Sorrow. And I can remember feeling this massive sinking feeling at my stomach going, right, that means the rest of us are backing singers. Everybody's reaction made me feel like absolute shit. Yeah. It built up and built up and built, everything built up, and the only way that I could deal with it is to go, that's it. And towards the end, I felt my only ally was H. Why couldn't you come to discuss it
Because
And-
we didn't talk to each other towards the end. We were barely having conversations. H and I travelled separately half the time.
Back then, everything was magnified. And for me, I was so unhappy because I was tired and knackered and didn't want to see anybody.
Yeah, but you said you needed a break and you were tired, but yet you were ready to go on with Claire.
To me, it felt like I couldn't do it anymore. I had to go. That was it. I could not.
So you carried on with H.
Because you guys came out so soon afterwards, it was apparent that this actually had been planned, you know, a lot longer than 2 weeks before, because there you were with a new single, new video,
Remembering
new
all this,
album.
all a bit of a blur.
I went afterwards to places to write and record for, you know, potential new stuff, and they said, "Oh, we've wrote with H and Claire before, or they've been in and recording," and I was just like,
Yeah,
"That
but
hell,
when, though?
what? What?"
Before we split? That's not true.
Not recording, but songs were being written for you.
Faye hit on a few nerves, and I thought she did really well saying that, because I know it's difficult, because you don't really want to upset anyone, you don't want to offend anyone, but you do want to get the truth. I think it's tough to be in a band and then turn around and look on SMTV or something, and you guys are out there with an album coming out.
I've got a question. Why did you resign an hour or two before the show?
That was shit, wasn't it?
It was shit. It was, darling.
Do you know
it was
what?
really shit.
I regret the way that it ended.
I'm really glad you said that.
No, I honestly, and I take my hat off and I say that I wish we'd sat down and talked about it
So do
and
we.
communicated and
But it was
taken a year out.
It was an ongoing thing, though.
Yeah, but before a show.
I know, and looking back on it, it was shit.
I would
Do you know
never
what?
have done that
I
to
know,
any of you.
I
I
remember.
still can't get my head around.
From what I remember,
That was the hardest show.
we were basically told that we had to tell you before, I don't know what, before the end of the tour, and that was the opportunity to do it, because we would have done the show on the last night and would have all gone our separate ways.
What happened to the give everybody 3 months warning that was in our group agreement?
Yeah, but that's different, isn't it? You can't...
I don't remember that.
Well, it is to you because you managed to be able to do it. You know, it was one decision that changed the course of 5 people's destiny. And it's just, I'm still angry that nobody thought about the rest of the 3 of us. You know, we just were shoved to the side.
I don't feel very happy about the whole thing. It's made me think that there's a bit more anger there than I expected still.
It should have been a band decision when Steps ended, because Steps was the 5 of us, and that's what I found hard, that was taken away from us. And also...
But it was never going to be that because we weren't close enough for it to be that.
And that was really shit. There was shit timing for the fans
I
as
agree
well.
with you, absolutely.
It's kind of directed to Claire, but you seem a lot more confident about the whole thing, and you seem a lot more settled with yourself, and you feel like it feels like that you kind of...
Well, I just feel like, I mean, Claire, you do bury your head in the sand, where I feel like I'm not saying you've not grown up, but I feel like I've matured.
We can't change it, none of us can, but I do think it's important to be honest, and I'm not having a go at either of you.
Not at all.
But I'm just telling you how it felt for us. And, you know, that the next day, when it was all over, waking up actually realising Steps was over and we had no manager, you know, no record company, and it was all gone, so...
Did you really hate us? Did you really hate us? Was I really horrible to you?
It's like being broken-hearted, you know, do you ever get over that? I don't know.
For me, it felt really hideous.
Not like I want them to beg on their knees or anything, but just to say sorry, guys, would be nice.
We were just left to fend for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of feel like I wish I had not taken part in this.
Coming up, with a reunion looming ahead, the band try their best to make amends.
I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of fractious energy in the air.
But with a history of fierce group divides, it's not going to be easy.
I would never have chosen Lee as a friend of mine, but we were made to be friends.
If you don't stop it now, I'm going to put you up against that wall and I'm just going to deck you.
There was that divide there.
I did start to feel excluded in the end.
All 5 former members of Steps have met for the first time in 10 years.
Why did you resign an hour or two before the show?
And for some, the bitter split has left a lasting feeling of anger and resentment.
I'm still angry that nobody thought about the rest of the 3 of us.
I kind of feel like I wish I had not taken part in this.
After an emotionally exhausting night, the next morning they all return home to let the evening's discussions sink in. For H, it's been a painful eye-opener.
I can tell you what's happened is it's opened a bloody can of worms, I know that. Just to revisit all of that and realise why it happened and what went wrong, what we should have done differently. Back then, you know, we were just so young, we were just knackered, and we didn't think properly. Well, I didn't anyway. You know, I couldn't think things through. And I wish that I'd sat down with the rest of them and just told them how I felt. I do, I really do. So I've come to the realisation that it was a really shit thing to do, and I do really, really regret it. More than anything.
In a bid to salvage any hope of a reunion, H has decided to build bridges with the bandmate that he's had most conflict with, Lee. H has invited him to spend a weekend at his home in North Wales, and Lee has agreed.
I think my feelings towards it are slightly mixed. I'm a little bit nervous, slightly anxious.
Back in the day, H and Lee were renowned for having a fractious relationship.
Me and H are very, very different people.
In the ordinary world, I would never have chosen Lee as a friend of mine, but we were made to be friends.
He was like a child that you're trying to control at times.
Claire hid seaweed.
Go and get him out.
Claire! No, go away! I think because I sang on some of the songs, you know, I did magazine covers or interviews. If I put myself in Lee's shoes, then I would be pissed off as well.
We were about to do a live TV show, and he was going off on one. You've got no talent, you're here for your look, you can't sing, blah-de-blah. And I think, if I remember rightly, I might have said to him, if you don't stop it now, I'm going to put you up against that wall and I'm just going to deck you.
It was a volatile relationship, but a truce between Lee and H is a necessity if Steps are ever going to record or perform together again.
Your driveway is as long as the journey.
Yeah. A mile, mate.
Oh, you're right.
Nice to see you. Oh, do you need a pee?
I'm desperate.
Yeah, go on.
Oh,
Hey, go, nice car. Nice to see you.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
Come on, come in. Right, I'll show you to your room. Come on up. There you go.
Marvellous. Oh, lovely.
Coming in. Bed made by my fair hands.
4-poster bed.
Yeah, I've seen a bit.
I'll see it in a mo.
Bye.
The guest list. I think there'll be some questions between both of us. I hope there will be. Otherwise, why are we here? If it's a little bit of an issue, well, then let's deal with it and let's move on.
While the boys make efforts to put the past behind them, the girls have decided to do the same.
It's time to begin. I'm counting in. 5, 6, 7, 8.
They're having a girly weekend in Marbella, and it's not the first time they've been here together. It's where the magic began almost 15 years ago, when they shot their first video, 5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
But back then, when Steps were topping the charts, Lisa and Faye were enduring a frosty relationship with Claire.
Me and Faye were the party girls, definitely.
Remember, we went to Australia. We landed at like 6 o'clock in the morning, went straight to do a photo call, and they just kept going, partied.
Claire's definitely more of a homely person, and she didn't really want to travel too much. She didn't want to be away from home and a family. We'd want to go out and find out what their nightlife was like, whereas Claire would stay in and she'd have a bath and she'd read a book.
I was in Japan and I spent most of it in my hotel room, eating rice and a banana for dinner because I didn't like sushi. All I thought about was, I want to go home.
I guess there was that divide there.
I think sometimes maybe I felt a little bit left out, especially towards the end. I remember they started going to Ladies' Day at Ascot and they never invited me. I did start to feel excluded in the end.
We had a really good laugh. She should have been with us.
All three girls have arrived in Marbella, but with the dinner party still fresh in their minds, it's been an anxious journey.
I know there are still things that may need to be said, but I don't really want it to be about that anymore. I just would rather... It was 10 years ago, and I kind of feel a little bit like we should move on now.
I had the initial dinner with all of us. You know, there were a lot of nerves, and it really was a bit of a roller coaster for me that evening. There were mixed emotions.
I felt relieved because of, you know, what had been said, and it was been a long time coming, a very long time coming, but I wasn't completely satisfied. I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of fractious energy in the air.
Oh, Charlie.
Having me.
Is it Mummy?
I did.
I don't think I've ever actually had a proper girly holiday with anybody in my life.
You should. They're great. But it's only to do it, the three of us. What do you want to drink? Uno vino blanco seco, por favor.
Vino blanco seco.
Do you have a margarita?
Margarita.
Sí. Margarita, sorry. Sí, it's just a margarita. Margarita? No. Do we feel sorry for the boys in Wales?
No.
I think it would be very good for them to hang out together for a
Yeah, I
while.
can't wait to see
And I'd
the
love
footage.
to see it though. I would. Just out of sheer curiosity, because they never have really hung out.
Hi, mate. Very quaint. Help yourself.
It's a great house, mate, what can I say?
Oh, mate. It's gorgeous.
We all had a chat, didn't we? Tears were there, and I think certain things were said that needed to be said. But I do think, me personally, I think there's still a little bit more from the girls. If there's anything left to be said, not that we know, but if there is anything left to be said, I hope they say it and get it done with.
What do you think is to be said?
I think a general issue is the fact that Claire did most of the singing, which was not Claire's choice, I suppose, in a way. She was asked to do that.
Like you just said, that's not Claire's fault, though.
No, it's not.
I never thought of that, actually. That's a very good point.
I think that's the main point deep down, and I think that's what causes the confusion even more, because nobody can actually really go, you decided to do that, you kept it from me. Well, no, they didn't, because they were told to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's more frustrating, isn't it?
Interesting.
Coming up, in a bid to address the past, Lee produces H's 10-year-old resignation letter. And for the girls, old divides raise their ugly heads once again.
Probably one of the bravest things I've ever done is sit in that room and tell you that I was leaving.
I don't think it was brave. I think it was crazy.
Will the band ever be able to put the past behind them and reunite?
I would never, ever do anything to intentionally hurt anybody.
I'll never truly get over the split and how it happened.
Steps are preparing to reunite for the release of their Ultimate Collection album. And in an attempt to build bridges, they're spending some quality time together. The girls have taken a trip to Spain to rekindle their old friendships. And in the spirit of bonding, they're off on a boat trip.
I tell you what, there is something about being in a pop group, though, and living the high life, because you do get to go to some amazing places. You probably did miss out on bonding time.
Yeah, I think I hope I'm right in saying that we wanted you there, so we always invited you, but a lot of the time, you know, you choose to stay in, and we choose to go out.
In sort of the earlier days when we did some room sharing as well, and you and me would always share a room because we'd know that we were definitely going out.
We were always going out.
Regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
So maybe we missed out on sort of more time with you in that way as well.
But also, I think H stayed in a lot more. Maybe that's where you two had more of a bond because you both enjoyed the same downtime, you think?
Yeah. Claire and H would go to bed, you know, as soon as they got into their hotel room, whereas Lisa and I, and sometimes Lee, would go down to the bar for a drink and see where we were.
If we were in Southeast Asia, we'd want to go out and find out what their nightlife was like, and we really did enjoy every country that we went to. We did always invite everybody out. Even though they'd say no, we still used to invite them.
And I kind of wasted some of those opportunities and the situations. I wish I had enjoyed myself more.
Thank you so much, it was wonderful.
Why did I get left all alone? By myself, the scaredy cat. Do anything. You want?
Big jump.
Thank you.
This whole process completely feels like therapy, and I think it's something that we all needed.
Individually, my relationship with both the girls, it's been really nice because, you need to get that connection again, you really do.
Over dinner at the hotel, Faye is keen to relay a conversation she recently had with the band's former manager, Tim Byrne.
We have grown up, and it is water under the bridge, but I can't say it's all completely gone. But it's like when I found out that, because I spoke to Tim a while back, and he said that you had gone to Tim in Cardiff, and that's when you decided that you guys wanted to move on. Hearing that for the first time, I was just, it made me feel wobbly. It's fine, you
Wobbly in what way though?
I didn't believe that it would be you guys that really did it.
It's weird how, as well, you have different perceptions of a situation. I felt at that time that we just weren't close at all. Felt completely on the outside of everything. And literally the only time we saw each other was in the dressing room and on stage.
Don't mean to sound awful, but it's almost, it's a reaction of almost becoming the victim, and it's her way of dealing with it and saying that yes, I did do it, but I can't handle talking about it, or it wasn't me, really.
It made me feel angry when H said he didn't feel guilty about the split at the time, but he's completely reversed that feeling and emotion for me, by actually showing remorse and admitting, you know, the other day that actually I am sorry for the way it ended. But it really helps to hear that. I really appreciated that.
I mean, the fact that, you know, he wasn't originally sad or sorry or guilty or didn't feel guilt kind of makes me a little bit sick to my stomach because being on the receiving end of it was so very, very tough.
I do think that I'm bearing the brunt of a lot of this, actually. But then I always felt like I did. Even the day that we split, I was the one that told everybody. Even though H was leaving as well, it was me that sat there and told everybody that I was leaving. And I'm not even exaggerating. H went, yeah, and I'm leaving too, handed everyone his letter and left. And left me in the dressing room to deal with it.
I think it would be fair to say that Claire's bearing the brunt of things for her and H. I need to kind of think about why that's happening, because I guess it's not fair really. It was very much the two of them.
With old wounds opening up again, a happy ending for Steps might be on shaky ground. In Wales, the boys are on their way into the local village for dinner, and it's a first. H and Lee have never socialised together one-on-one.
How do you think, if I have, changed at all since back then?
No, definitely. I think out of everybody, to me, you and Claire have changed possibly the most, but in very different ways. I think you, more mature, dare I say. I just think you've got a different head on your shoulders, and I think you look at things very differently now to how you did then. You're holding your hands up and going, you know what, I'm respecting everybody, I'm going to listen to everybody. Do you think everybody feels that in the way you feel it? Do you think we've all gone, you know what, yeah, great, let's do it, sort it out, move on? Or do you still think some people are a bit about it?
I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that I think Claire's probably got a little bit of work to do.
Okay.
I can still remember how I felt. I just felt I had this knot in my stomach all the time.
I felt I'd get so
You passed the knot to us.
Yeah.
No, but actually, that was my way of getting rid of it. I'd so internalised so much stuff for such a long time. It was like running away, really. It was the only way I could get rid of it. And probably one of the bravest things I've ever done is sit in that room and tell you that I was leaving.
I don't think it was brave. I think it was crazy.
It's interesting with Lisa because I think she holds a lot back and she's still angry about stuff and she still feels the hurt. I know that.
I'll never truly get over the split and how it happened. I'll be honest.
I'm not a malicious person. I would never, ever do anything to intentionally hurt anybody, and I didn't 10 years ago. Crying, I've had a nice weekend and getting upset. And I think that's what I need to get across, that I didn't do it intentionally. No matter what anybody thinks, I had to do what was best for me at the time. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened to me.
I think for me it took time to sink in, and it probably took quite a long time. And then when it sinks in, you've had your moment and you just think, oh, actually, well, yeah, you know, it's sort of not really the right way of it happening, is it, at the end of the day? It might have felt right at the time. It's like I've said, in a way, it's two people going off, and in a way just ending three other people's sort of career in that sense. And at that point, our career wasn't just a career, it was like our lives. What I want to know is what was going on in your mind at that point, from writing the letter. And the funny thing is, I've actually got...
You got the letter?
The letter.
Really?
Mate, it's not even a fucking letter, it's a line on a piece of paper. I've kept it.
I don't even remember it. Oh.
10 years ago, with this very letter, Steps was destroyed.
There it is, mate.
For the life of me, I cannot remember writing that letter. It's just, oh, awful. God, what an awful, awful thing to do. Awful. My God, I can't even believe...
Not even a letter, is it?
Oh.
It's like a line on a piece of paper.
I can't even believe how sorry I am. My God. It was along the lines of, I hereby give my notice, blah, 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 and a few other lines, which are not even worth mentioning. It's just literally so brief and ridiculous.
I was nervous. I was really nervous with the letter because I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I didn't really want to upset him, and I didn't want to go back from all the positivity of moving forward. I didn't want to put a halt to it. So it was a risk, but it was a risk worth taking.
I would have been just devastated, absolutely mortified, if somebody had handed me that letter. How cold and heartless that would have been. I feel so shit about that.
If there was anything that needed to be done to move on now, that's what needed to be done.
In a bid to attack old demons head-on, Lee has uncovered a painful reminder of the past. H has refused to show the TV crew what's written in his 10-year-old resignation letter, and the contents will forever remain a secret. But getting things off his chest has been therapeutic for Lee.
I think it will be a lot more equal now than it was back then, definitely. I think the only way of doing that is by airing all our views, which is what we're doing. And I think if we all stick together, if we all say what we're going to do and be positive, then there's no reason why we can't at least give it a go.
But will H feel the same?
We've still got a lot of mileage to cover before we even consider, you know, doing something as a five. But if we ever got to that point, I think it would be really hard for everything to be equal. It can't be.
Coming up, can the girly weekend salvage Faye and Lisa's relationship with Claire? And it's crunch time for the band, as they have to decide if there's a future for Steps. In a bid to salvage hopes of a reunion, Steps are trying to rekindle old friendships. There's been ups and downs. But spending time together has kick-started an important turning point for the band. Over in Spain, there's a night out on the agenda for the girls, and Claire's trying her best to build bridges.
Can't believe you've got so many brushes.
And I could be a professional makeup artist, considering I don't put any makeup on when I'm at home.
No matter where you go, it's right, she doesn't actually use it. She's got everything. She'll spread herself out, do her nesting. I mean, look at all of these. I'm shy.
Have a nice time, girls, because I'm going to bed now.
Liza always gets ready in like 50 seconds flat. She just gets organised. She knows what she's doing.
Well, I'm just more relaxed these days. I would have taken longer to get ready in the old days. I was worried about, you know, a hair out of place, but now I'm a lot more relaxed. And I think having children, it does have that effect on you because, you know, you don't have as much time for yourself and then priorities change.
Another thing.
Keep on. Very slow. Come on, Clara. You can do it. You can do it.
Me and Lisa are on our dancey buzz because we're quite into the music. We need to G up Claire a little bit, so I'm crossing my fingers and plying her with alcohol, so we'll see what happens.
After obviously our first initial meeting, 5 of us, and this trip here, it's gotten us over the first hurdle. We can be in the same room with each other and be friends. Hopefully that can lead to us being able to work together again.
I thought it was gone, it was over. I didn't really allow myself to think about it. It's a wonderful thing to revisit it, and it's all very positive for me. And I hope it is for the other guys, and that we can move forward with, you know, these lovely feelings.
I would never have put us all in the same room together. No. It actually feels really nice. It feels like kind of normal. It feels like the right thing to be doing. And it feels fun.
it's lovely for us all to be out in the public eye together. You know, me, Faye and Claire, we've been sat there and we've had so many people coming up to us saying, oh, we used to love you. It's crazy that there's so much love.
For the first time in 15 years, Lisa, Faye and Claire party the night away. The next morning there's no sign of the girls as they sleep off the night before. But back in North Wales, H and Lee are up early, ready for the day ahead.
Morning. Right, eggs are ready. Plucked from my own chicken's bums.
Nice. The eggs are not moving on their own.
And before long, the boys start to talk about their lives after Steps.
How did you meet Craig?
I was in Joseph in the West End, and Craig was in We Will Rock You in the West End, and we met one night in a theatre bar. And it was just really natural and really easy, and I love the fact that we come from very similar backgrounds, and I'm the only one that can handle him, and he's the only one that can handle me. How does Kerry feel about all this?
She just wants it to do well. Whatever happens, she'll be very positive. I think she's a little bit nervous as well, because it means if it took off and we went somewhere, there'd be time away from each other. What about Craigie boy?
I'd say he's actually really worried. I remember when I went into Big Brother, and I just started seeing Craig at that point, and there were reporters at stage door asking him to sell his story. Yeah. So he's always got that in his head.
What's all this about you?
What, me?
Aren't you considering...
You're going to say conceiving there?
Aren't you considering the patter of little feet?
Yes. I've always wanted kids. I didn't actually think it would be this possible or that easy to have our own biological children. But now we've discovered this process, and we're just about to choose the oven, so the surrogate mum. But yeah, we're down the baby route now. By next spring, summer, we could be changing nappies.
Oh, happy for you, mate. Happy for you.
Ah.
Right then, buddy. I'm going to give you a little taste of my world today.
Are you for real?
Yeah. I might teach you a little bit of boxing today.
What?
5 years.
Just come with me. It's just when I need...
Excellent. Did you know I'm a black belt?
No.
I'm looking forward to punishing him a little bit.
Glad you don't live near me. Fucking hell.
Good?
Go on,
take the bum back a bit more.
That's not as easy as it looks, you know.
And again, and again.
There you go.
Feeling it?
Yeah.
Tired?
Yeah.
Should we go get pizza and a beer?
Yeah. Sounds good. Cheers, mate. Come on.
Thought you meant us then.
Huh?
Thought you meant us, Stacey.
I actually really enjoyed that.
Back in Marbella, the girls have crawled out of bed for a massage on the beach. And it seems that the night out has blown the cobwebs and some painful memories away.
People kind of perceive Steps to be the kind of, you know, bouncy, cheesy disco something, but...
We were really cool.
but you know, as the music progressed, there was like a nice sort of, it was kind of edgy dance cheese.
Do you remember when we met Prince Charles at party in the park?
Oh, we've all got photographic evidence
and I said
of him
to him,
doing tragedy.
Charles, would you mind putting your hands up and doing the tragedy dance, please? And you all go, no, don't, you can't ask him that. He's the Prince, you can't. And I was worried. He said, I was worried because I thought, you know, he might think I was making fun of his ears.
While the girls reminisce, the boys are also having a moment of nostalgia. H has dusted off his old Steps memorabilia.
Oh, this is a fresh...
Ah!
Yay!
Oh, he's all crushed. Sorry. Does he work though?
It
still works.
I got one that still works.
It's a bit slow though.
Our Deeper Shade of Blue video was a fabulous video, costume-wise, and it would be really fun to play with something like that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we should be.
What is that?
That was Deeper Shade of Blue outfit.
Was it? Really?
Yeah, it was our TV performance.
Okay.
Remember, it was all kind of Matrix style.
Yeah.
But I remember the record company was so stingy with styling, and we'd have to end up wearing the same thing all the time. So I designed a 3-in-1. So I could have a jacket, then I could pull the bottom bit off, and then I could pull the arms off so I could have a waistcoat. So I had 3 outfits in one.
Did you know that I wrote with Gary Barlow for my album?
Did you?
Yeah. I went into his
back in the
studio.
day as well.
I stayed up to his house, met his lovely family, and this was before Take That, you know, came back. So yeah, I'd love to call him up and say, hi, remember me?
All right.
It'd be amazing to get back in the studio with him. He's so talented.
I remember when we got followed to the airport. You might remember this.
I do,
there was about 3 or 4
say.
cars, yeah? And they all got out, and they must have saw me sitting in the front and got a quick glimpse of the van going past. And we pulled right up to Heathrow, and we all got out, and all these girls came running over, and they all went... and their hearts sank, and they all thought we were 5.
I know, I remember it. I remember it, we all went, ah!
We need a patience, don't we?
Yeah.
Like the Steps version.
Yeah, dancey upbeat with a good story. Patience.
Have a little patience.
We did a Disney medley, and I was the Lion King.
Turn it round.
And it's the bum.
Amazing, what?
No one's saying it's going to be easy, but the fact that we're all trying to move forward, I think, is really admirable.
The whole point of this, at the very least, is to, you know, rewrite the ending.
The story has just begun, and darling, what's done is done. It's time to change and leave the past behind.
As the weekend draws to a close, it's time for goodbyes.
It's starting to get a little bit exciting and fun, thinking about ideas, you know, of how to move forward and what it would actually really physically be like to stand together as a team and have people see that. I mean, that's a really exciting thing.
Hi, buddy. Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Been all good. Yeah, welcome anytime.
Thank you, mate. If we really do this, this could be big again. We could make this work.
So, Jenny, bye. Oh, what a lovely guy.
Some things are better forgotten. Make a chance on a happy ending. Turn the page and stop pretending. Have to stop our heart from mending. It's time to let go, 'cause baby, you know some things are better.
Next time on Steps Reunion.
I mean, with all this talk, how committed are you? Are all the issues that were prevalent, are they now gone?
Are you serious? I don't want to hear your excuses.
I could feel myself going...
This isn't working for me.
Looks like I've got an happy end.
We're not going to be working with this for you.
Some people need hair, some people need makeup, some people need clothes.
I look like I'm in busted.
Part of me feels it's great, I'm in there and I'm singing. Part of me feels not good enough to do it.
I felt like a spare part again. At this point, Steps has no place in my life.